You're listening to the #1 podcast for nonprofit leaders, getting your nonprofit fully funded. This is the Fundraising Masterminds podcast. All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Fundraising Masterminds. My name is Jason Galasinski, and with me, my co-host, Jim Dempsey.
Hey, Jason.
And we are so excited for you guys to be here because today we're going to be taking some questions.
Yeah, we'll do this from time to time, and we've got some questions that are in the queue, and we've also got some people are calling in, so I'm excited.
Yeah, but before we get into the questions, if you wouldn't mind just taking some time to subscribe on YouTube, you can also look us up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yep.
And if you have a question of your own, feel free to write that in the comments because we would love to hear from you. Our first question actually just came in on a phone call, and we've got Heather on the line. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Jason. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Heather.
How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're freezing here in Minnesota. We're ready for spring.
Oh, man, I can only imagine. So, yeah, it's, oh, golly, we're recording from Orlando, Florida, so we're having just about the opposite temperature from you.
Well, thanks for taking my call and helping me with my question here.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your nonprofit and just give us some context here on your question.
Yeah. So our school is Avail Academy in Minneapolis. We have 3 campuses. 2 K through 8 elementary schools, and then 1 high school. And our campus that I'm working from currently is about 20 miles away from our other 2 campuses. And just recently, our principal, who's been serving for 33 years at the school, announced his retirement. And it's really a big deal. He's just been such an icon to our school and really helped develop the school really well. So we are going to do an open house party, retirement party here in the spring. And we are inviting about 2,000 people, which is a lot, but this includes like former parents, alumni, donors from the past and current donors, also some current families to this open house. And as the development director, I am excited about this possibility of bringing all these people in that have been connected with our school and our mission from the past, and just wanting to know, is there a way to tactfully link this event to some kind of fundraising, somehow to support our school? We would love to do something personal for him as a small gift of appreciation, but also I'm seeing it as a school, could we do something in honor of him? Yeah. We've even talked about, adding a gym or adding something big onto our school in memory of him. Yeah. But how do I capture this exciting event and not take away from the personal, just the personal relationship and just his retirement, I guess I should say. I don't want to take away from it being about him and switching it over to fundraising. So how can I do that effectively?
Yeah. Heather, give us a little reading on what your budget is currently. And I'd be interested to know the balance between your tuition, how much comes in through your tuition. I don't mean necessarily exact dollars on that, but the difference between that and separate contributions that come from parents and friends.
Yeah. So we, our overall budget is around $7 million. Okay. And we bring in with just tuition alone about $4.5 million. Okay.
Got it. So you bring in then almost $3 million then in outside contributions and things in addition to the tuition.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, first of all, I want to applaud you for thinking about how can we maximize that. There's a term that we use called development eyes, and that is the ability to look out at opportunities that exist out there. And you have development eyes. You're looking at the opportunities in a situation, and not necessarily to take advantage, but to see the opportunity exist there. And I think that's extremely wise to do that, because you've got this opportunity where potentially you are pulling in individuals who have been greatly impacted by the school and greatly impacted by this individual. So it's kind of a target-rich environment for lack of a better term in that you've got people who love you, are interested in you, who have been impacted by you. What a better opportunity present this challenge to help him leave a legacy through their investments. So from my standpoint, that's extremely wise on your part to do that. And I would say definitely head that direction. And from my standpoint, I wonder if there isn't a way, and you may have thought about this as well too, but is there some way that we can tie in a living legacy for him by, naming a scholarship after him, and people would, give to that scholarship for, needy students? Is there, maybe an endowment that could be set aside for that, but also the possibility, like you talked about, a, gymnasium or whatever that could be named after him. I don't know if you've thought about any of those kinds of things, but, giving people an opportunity to keep his legacy alive in that sense. He hasn't passed away, so you've got, at least that's what I understand. Right. And so it's more at this point, honoring him, but it is, is still leaving a legacy on that. Have you all thought about anything like that?
Yeah, we have done that in the past, like a scholarship fund, where somebody who's taught at a school for a long time, that we made that in kind of her memory, doing a fund. And we do a lot throughout the year on pushing scholarship giving. So I'm a little bit reluctant to want to just jump on the scholarship fund. Sure. Just because we really do push that a lot throughout the school year. And
already, it's kind of exhausted. You've exhausted that. Yeah, sure. No, that makes complete sense. And what about the thought about maybe naming the gymnasium after him, that kind of thing, or whatever?
I think that was kind of my initial thought, was to be able to do that. We are really outdated in our building, so we need to do some updates, and this would be a great opportunity. The problem also with this is that we have the other campuses. So our principal at our current campus is the one retiring. So potentially we would be doing any kind of building remodels at that campus. I don't want the other campuses to feel like they're being left out in getting a big addition, because they could use an addition too. So that's a little bit sticky on trying to figure out how to do this equally, and yet it's not totally equal.
Well, and I think part of her question too is, how do you go about practically doing that at an event, in an event context?
Yeah.
Heather, have you guys done a capital campaign at all for your school to get it going, or anything you've participated in?
Not that I'm aware of. I came into this position about 3 years ago, and I've been here at the school for about 10. So nothing, not a capital campaign that I am aware of, maybe in the past, but nothing recent.
Yeah, because typically in a traditional capital campaign, before you head into an event like this, you're getting advanced commitments and advanced gifts. So the way that I would move towards that, and generally you want to get anywhere between 40 and 60% of advanced commitments before you go into an event like this, so that, say you've got 60% of what your total goal is, and then this event would put you over the top in the commitments on that. So first of all, if you wanted to upgrade or build from scratch, you'd have to get a dollar amount for what would be the cost of that, because you want to certainly present that at the event. Generally, you are looking for an advanced commitment phase. You're looking at about 3 months lead time minimum to begin challenging people. And it would mean you'd get in front of individuals and do face-to-face presentations with people and on the advanced commitment. So it would be board members, potentially some staff, and certainly your critical few, your 20% that brings in 80% of your dollars. You'd want to get to those people first to make the advanced commitment. So let's just say, it costs $2.5 million. Well, if you could walk in there with $1 million of commitments, or $1.5 million of commitments, so that all you need is $1 million on the back end, then you could go into the event saying, okay, here's what we wanted to do in honor of our principal, but it's going to be $2.5 million, but I'm excited to report that we've got $1.5 million in advance commitments, and we would love for you to be part of putting us over the top in this campaign.
Yeah, that's good. Unfortunately, we are in a little bit of a time crunch because we are having this party in May, so that might not be an option.
Okay, May of 2023.
Yes. Yeah. So in a couple months here. So we're in a little bit of a time crunch.
Yes. Right. Have you started thinking at all about what those upgrades would look like, what those upgrades would cost and things?
Just started. We met with architect last week. Just really getting just the beginning of research on how much that would cost. So I don't foresee having an idea on the cost, for another 4 weeks at least.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, we talk about this a lot on our program, that people give to vision, right? They give to mission, vision, and values.
Right.
And I think having that vision defined, ahead of time is really important.
Yeah. Well, certainly with anything regarding capital improvements, Heather, you, as Jason was saying, you really want to sell the sizzle, not the steak. The building itself is the steak. You want to sell what's going to happen, what's going to be different, you're going to see impacted, the lives that are impacted as a result of this building. So just building the building and just potentially putting this person's name on it, that would just be one part of the component. But people really will give to the potential that's out there, and that's what you've got. That's what you've got to have in this. I have done
continuing the legacy, right?
For sure.
Going into the event and saying, "Hey, this president really made a big impact, and we want to continue his legacy for years and years to come." So for kind of almost like painting a picture of what would the school look like 5 years from now if his legacy continued to live out through your giving.
Yeah. And so in other words, if you opened it up to the public as an example, that, if in your area, there was a shortage of basketball courts, and you open it up to the public to use at times, you could say, well, this is an opportunity for us to become a beacon, a lighthouse to the community, so that it will benefit our students, but also out in the public as an example of something that would provide value, something that would be would make a lasting impact for the kingdom. So those are some of the things that you'd think about as well too. Right. Now, I have done before. I don't see the same success, but I've done reverse campaigns in the sense that you announce the start of a campaign at your event. And the challenge that you have with that is that you'll have people in the seats that are part of that 20% that bring in 80% of your dollars that potentially could be greatly under-challenged. If I'm sitting in front of someone and talking to them about being involved in this, I might be able to get a gift of $50 or $100, $150,000 or something from someone. Yeah. Whereas if you present it in the masses, that same person may give $10,000 in there. So you do run that risk when all this is doing is just putting
would it be a good idea to let the 20% know ahead of time that you're going to be kicking this off?
Oh, absolutely it would. I guess the challenge that we have is what Heather was saying, is that she doesn't have much time. In fact, if
a mailing or something, a direct mail.
Well, email and things. It'd be much better if you could target it, to be honest, to target it with individual appointments. So instead of getting Heather out to, maybe 150 people, you may get to your top 25 people, something like that, if you had the time. I think what I hear you saying is that it's probably going to take a month before you get any indication on the number. So that's got you into the middle of April. And your event is going to be...
the beginning of May.
Beginning of May, yeah. Okay. So that'd give you about 2 weeks. Now, you may have some preliminary numbers that they could say, okay, they're not exact, but estimated on doing these capital improvements will be this. And so you could go into beginning challenging. Have you done that, Heather, yourself? I mean, is that part of your role and responsibility? Have you gone in and had face-to-face appointments with major donors?
Not yet. I mean, I'm starting to do that. I have one meeting this week to start that, but I haven't sat down with a major donor yet and had a big ask. We've done more campaigns of mailings and stuff.
Yeah. Boy, I hate to use the term baptism by fire, but that will be, that will be a big step for you. And you're going to have to, get over that hurdle, but what a tremendous opportunity to do that. And if you've got anyone on your team, senior leadership who is comfortable with making an ask, or at least comfortable going in with you, I'd recommend that. I mean, there's strength in numbers, as long as it's not overwhelming numbers. Take someone with you. But I think you've got an opportunity to make some great appeals to people. This seems like something, if you've got a beloved individual and a great need, you've got the makings for a really, really great winning situation if you can take advantage of it.
Yeah. Thank you. So I guess I have another question with that, is if we send out invite postcards to these 2,000 plus people. We have all the information on there. Would it be appropriate to somehow have a link to a personal gift for this principal and also a link to a fund? Or should we stay away from having that on?
I hate to tongue-in-cheek say only if you want to get a limited amount of money.
Right.
In a sense, and what I mean by that, Heather, I mean that you really want to try and get people there, because honestly, the giving will be significantly more. So I would, everyone's looking for an excuse not to go to, none of us need one more event to go to if we don't have to. So when we do the Perfect Vision Dinner strategy, one of the things I never put on our invitations is, if you can't make it, here's a way to give, because it's a great way to not have to go to an event. I can just give a tip, $10, $25 or something. And so you really want to get people there. So definitely in those invitations, you want to do everything you can to get as many people there. You definitely don't want it to be a bait and switch. So you want to put on there that we have an opportunity to share with you a special project we're working on, and we're going to be sharing with you how you can invest in that special effort. And so that needs to go out there. There's always an opportunity on the back end, Heather, to the general public and say, sorry, we missed you. We had a great event and this much was committed. Help us get over the top. So I would do that on the back end versus giving them an excuse to just give you a tip on the front end. So I personally, I wouldn't do that.
Now, this program, from my understanding, it's not really a fundraiser. It's not really a dinner type thing.
Right. So it's the open house in honor of our principal. So I want to even avoid making that the event even an ask during that evening. So yeah, like you said, Jim, it might be something good for a follow-up after the event to make the ask. Is that what you think?
No. I would say for the follow-up, for the people who don't make a commitment, I don't think this is so bad, Heather. It's almost... we don't want to fall in the trap of thinking, oh, let's not dirty this event. And I know that you're not saying that at all, and I don't mean that way in the sense, but I don't think it's wrong to present at this, to take advantage of the opportunity to be able to share with them, not only, celebrate the life and the legacy of the person, but we've got an opportunity. We're going to do something to honor him, and we would love for you to be involved in that and to join us in this legacy celebration of his life in that. So remember, fundraising is doing something to someone. Development is doing something for someone. So don't look at this as a fundraising event that you're going to spring on people, but look at it as we're going to be creating this long-term legacy in honor of this individual. Come join us with this, and we would love for you to be part of that. So I think it can be presented in a way that's not threatening and that's not offensive at the event. What I meant on the back end is that sure, there could be the people who showed up, but take advantage of the opportunity that exists when you've got all those people in one room together. Because honestly,
there's a synergy in the room, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, because you're going to lose that the minute they walk out of the door, Heather. So, it's their interest in being involved in something like that will probably drop 60 to 70% just walking out the door.
Well, and also just using video, having a video. When we do the Perfect Vision Dinner, Heather, you're going to learn about this as you go through the course, but we're a big component of the video, using video as a presentation of the opportunity right ahead of time. Yep. So it sounds like you're leaning towards, if you had a choice of getting a bunch of people in a room and pitching a vision and not asking versus getting a bunch of people in the room, pitching a vision and asking, you would go the asking route. But let me ask you a question. How would you ask in the same way that we would ask in a vision dinner context? Because, in the vision dinner context, it's like, we do the split appeal, you have giving envelopes, like how far do you take the ask in this context, especially if people aren't going into it with the mindset that this is they're giving towards something. How do you make it not a what am I trying to say? Bait and switch.
Yeah.
How do you make it not that feel?
Well, Heather, I actually am going to have to turn that one over to you in the sense that I need to get a reading from you, take your temperature on. I sense some real hesitancy about asking at this event. Is that something that you see yourself maybe being able to go beyond that, or do you is that just not an option for you?
Yeah, I think overall, I just want to be respectful. And I've heard that from a couple people in our committee on planning this, is that we need to be respectful of, honoring Steve that night and not turning it into a fundraising event and trying to benefit the school directly just from his retirement. So I really want it to be an honoring evening, having videos, sharing memories, having alumni and former parents to come and share. So I feel like I would like to announce something, but I don't want that to be the center of the evening.
Yeah.
Well, what better way to honor someone at an event like that than to build a legacy? Wouldn't you say?
Well, I couldn't agree more. But yeah, it seems like, Heather, I don't know. I just, development, I don't know if you've run into this in your years, but, development can sometimes be looked at as a necessary evil. And we don't want to do it, but we know we have to do it. So let's do it as limited as we possibly can without hurting people's feelings or whatever it is. And I personally, I think it really, I think you're missing a great opportunity. And I don't mean that, honestly, I don't mean that from a fundraising standpoint, because I think that's where people probably on the committee are going. They're thinking, oh man, this is you're just trying to use this as a
right.
advantageous
well, Jim,
opportunity.
You worked with Bill Bright in the past, right?
Yeah.
Was there a similar situation that happened with Campus Crusade, with Bill Bright passing or something, a story that you can relate to, something similar to this happening with him?
Well, Bill Bright was, and quite possibly could even be like your leader, Heather. Bill Bright never wanted to be honored at all. He hated that we had some, busts of him or, his name on anything, because
right.
he always wanted to direct people's eyes to the Lord. But he always saw that the opportunity existed not to honor him, but to honor the Lord. And so anytime money was brought up or that opportunity was put out there, mm-hmm. he took advantage of it, not to honor him or honor Campus Crusade or anything that way, but redirect it towards mm-hmm. honoring the Lord and using this as a legacy. So I just... Heather, I think personally, I would say that I think people need to get beyond, the necessary evil or the we don't want to dirty this up or muddy this up with that, because I think you really do have a great opportunity, and frankly, I think you're going to miss a tremendous opportunity when you've got people there. There's a huge difference. To give you an idea on some of the statistics from our Perfect Vision Dinner strategy, when we know that when people walk out the door, that 99.9% of the people who walk out the door with an envelope never give after that. Mm-hmm. So that night is just so important, because everything comes to a head. There's that synergy that people are excited, they're there, and that momentum's there. And so I'm concerned for you. Honestly, it's your call and the committee's call, but I think you're missing a great opportunity that's out there. Right. And the struggle and the challenge you may have is that you would get people excited about things, and then on the back end you'd only get a fraction of the amount, and then it's really left, where if you had a $1.5 or $2 million improvement, and then you send a letter on the back end or an email on the back end and get $25,000 or $50,000. Then you're like, oh boy, what do we do now? So, it's a potentially a missed opportunity. I would say at least consider that, put that out there mm-hmm. For people. But if you are going to do it, if you say, okay, I agree, I would do everything you can to put it out there in advance. You definitely don't want it to be a bait and switch, and you definitely want to prepare people. You want them to come with their hearts prepared. Mm-hmm. But I would do it just in, be prepared to hear about an opportunity for you to help us as we, leave a legacy.
Yeah. we want to leave a living legacy for this person. Come prepared to help us make that happen. Kind of thing.
Yeah. But I think, it may be just a mindset issue that you just have to kind of get beyond the, let's not muddy up, or let's not bring up this topic in there, because if you do indeed want to accomplish this, I think this is the way to do it. Take advantage of that opportunity that you've got, being right there with people in that momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I think that's what's gotten me excited about this event, is just the possibilities of really connecting with years and years of alumni and families and donors. And I want to maximize this time to try to, to honor him in a way that we can continue his legacy here at our
like
school.
I said, in the very beginning, I give you a lot of credit for, wanting to maximize that opportunity, because it definitely is out there for you.
Yeah. Well, Heather, thank you so much for your call, and hope that was helpful for you.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your insights and your leadership in this important area.
Well, Heather, don't let it end here. If you've got follow-up or other things, if after you've had a chance to process through this a little bit, definitely, just reach out and we'll be happy to give you some additional input.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks, Heather.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I have to say, I do appreciate so much her development eyes and her looking to the future and to seeing just the potential and the possibilities out there. I think if I had to take a step back and say, what are some things I would do a little bit differently? I would say that she probably waited a little bit too long now. It's hard to say, when she got this idea about doing this, but boy, it's hard to pull something off in less than 2 months.
Yeah. I kind of got the impression that she was a little scared to ask for money at this event.
That's hard to say on that one, exactly where she was at. I did hear her say that the rest of the board, or people on the committee, I think is what she said, was concerned about that. Mm-hmm. And so there definitely was a concern about maybe bringing up that subject of money at a celebration. Right. I personally, I don't see that as being a problem.
I think it really boils down to the approach of, are you looking at this as a fundraiser, or are you looking at this as a way to leave a legacy?
Yeah, it's a development, right? Yeah, from the development aspect, exactly.
It's like, imagine if you had a patriarch of your family who was invested in the mission field, and he passed away,
right?
And you had all these people come to honor him for his life and his service to the mission field, and the natural thing to do would be, hey, let's invest in what he put his life into. Right. Let's take what he wanted to do and take it to another level.
Yeah.
What a better way to honor that individual, in passing, by setting up a legacy, and gathering people together and giving them the opportunity to participate in building upon his vision.
Yeah, right.
I think the issue here is the purpose of the event to celebrate, right? And that's it. Mm-hmm. Just a rah rally,
pep rally or something. Is
the purpose of this event a pep rally? Yeah. That's just basically, let's just talk about how great of a person the guy is, or can we make the event into, let's celebrate what he did and build off of his legacy? How can we bring it to the next level?
Yeah. Well, I think the issue that this comes down to is they're separating a celebration and an appeal. And frankly, I think asking for money to have a living legacy is the best way to celebrate. So I think they are really looking at these as two different things. One as being very one being honoring and one being not honoring. And I think asking people to give to further his legacy is just as honoring as sending around a book and asking him to sign and writing little notes about the impact that he made on their lives. Right. That to me is just as important as doing that.
Yeah. Well, Jim, I think we're out of time for this episode. It was very valuable and helpful.
These Q&As are I think these are some of the best conversation. I love questions like these.
Yeah.
So
and I would love to answer some more questions. So if you're out there and you're a nonprofit leader and you have a question, just write it in the comments on YouTube or in Spotify or wherever you can. You can also reach out to us on social media. We're available on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. You can just search for Fundraising Masterminds. We also have some coaching courses on our website. You can check that out at fundraisingmasterminds.net. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe because we have lots of new episodes coming out. We release a new episode every single week for nonprofit leaders just like you. And we would love to be able to answer any questions and help you along your development journey.
Don't forget to click the bell and be reminded when the next video comes out. And be sure to comment and make sure that you share this video with some of your friends and colleagues. If this benefited you, chances are it's going to benefit some of your friends and colleagues as well too. So please share this with others. That's how we get the message out to other people.
Yep. And again, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode, and we'll see you next time.